Washington, D.C. We were excited to come here because of all the museums and everything. The problem is there's so many of them, and it requires like miles of walking to get to them. We didn't get to do as much as we wanted to do, but we did get to check out a few cool things. The Great Falls Nike Missile Launch Site. It was once a part of 13 missile launch sites that surrounded Washington, D.C. What was once part of the land is now an elementary school, and there's a baseball field. They left the radar dome, which I guess at one point they had something rotating inside of it. But what was cool was you could walk through it, and the acoustics of this thing...
It was bizarre. I've never heard anything like it.
Never in my life.
Sounds so scary. It's vibrating. It sounds so scary. Because it sounds so scary.
It was strange.
It was strange. You can kind of make sense how it's a radar dome and it's supposed to like reflect signals. I guess you can kind of see how it works with the echoes in there. But it was pretty cool. It was a great place to check out. You can walk all the way through it. It's right there in the city park.
It might be weird if school is in session.
Oh yeah.
Because you're kind of in their parking lot.
Yep.
So after hours on the weekend, something like that might be a little easier to navigate.
Great Falls Park in Mather Gorge. I think I was kind of surprised to see this raging river right there in the midst of DC metro area.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
Right. There's a trail that goes all the way down. There's a couple of overlooks that give you a great view of the gorge and the falls themselves. You have to time it right. Probably one of those places that you should go during the week, maybe early morning, early evening, if you want any hope of getting that place to yourself. The Stephen F. Udvar-Hazy Museum. This is a Smithsonian property. This is the Aerospace Museum, and it's probably the biggest one that we've ever seen. I think this was primarily the reason why we booked this spot, was to be able to take the kids to this museum. The museum was huge. They had the Space Discovery, the original Gemini capsule, the Concorde, the Enola Gay. They had amazing variety of all types of planes and everything there. I just took the kids. You stayed home. No dogs allowed on this one.
Free to get in.
It was free to get in. They make their money on parking, so it's $15 a part. The kids had a blast, although I think they had a more fun time in one of those flight simulators, which we don't usually do these things, but I've decided let's just do this one. We go up there, and I was asking them if they have any for 3 people. The kids were like, well, we need to go in this one, and I was kind of sad because I really wanted to go. And so it was one of the flow simulator things, but they chose the 2-seater one, and it was kind of cool because it literally went upside down. It like rotated on all axes, so they had a good time in that.
And I was surprised when they came home and told me about it, because Parker tends to get motion sickness, but I guess he tolerated it okay. He said he got a little dizzy.
Overall, he did okay. I think they had more fun with that than the actual museum. Max was taking lots of pictures though, so it was really cool to see how big the space shuttle was and how small some of these other things are in real life, so it's definitely worth stopping through. The Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. This museum was very big, 3 stories. It had an amazing variety of like dinosaur stuff and sea stuff, and
you have to park and then walk like a mile to get there. I
forget even where we parked. Still was like a mile walk. There's no parking lots anywhere near the museum, which is, I can kind of understand why they do that, but it's an inconvenience, I think.
And then you have a 3-hour parking limit, so...
Right, so there's no possible way that you could see this entire museum and everything in it within 3 hours. You could spend an entire day just on one of the first levels, and they have 3 levels. All kinds of amazing stuff. They have the Hope Diamond there, all the jewelry stuff. That was the most packed full of people. People were just in line to kind of get pictures and get video of this infamous diamond. It wasn't a pain to get in, but you did have to go through metal detectors, and we did have to throw Max's pocket knife away. I didn't read any of the stuff on the website. We've been to so many museums, and it's never been an issue to bring a pocket knife in, but they seem to make a really big deal about that. So leave your pocket knives at home, leave your metal stuff at home, and it's definitely worth going to the National Mall. We walked probably 5 or 6 miles, I think, this day. Walked all the way down the National Mall. We did the Lincoln Memorial. It was really cool to go into the Lincoln Memorial, kind of look around. It was cool to see that place. You see it in all the movies. It was an iconic place to visit. We walked from the Lincoln Memorial all the way down to almost the Capitol, down to try to see the White House, although there's like
layers and layers of fences.
Oh my gosh.
And then there's a ton of construction too. So even what you can see through the fences is blocked by big construction trucks, and so
you can't get close or see anything now. You can get a glimpse of the building through the bars. You can see the guys on the roof, but other than that, you can say you got to see the White House a little bit. I'm not sure if it's actually worth going and trying to see at this point, because you can't even see anything. Not like you could, a long time ago.
Right.
But I think the kids had a good time walking through there.
I mean, Max seemed a little underwhelmed. I think he had really worked this place up in his mind. He was ready. He had his camera. He wanted to go and see all the big memorials. This was huge for him. He had been really wanting to get out to DC. As we're walking through the National Mall, he was kind of like, meh. I don't know, maybe he built it up too much before we got there. It was a little underwhelming for him.
Well, we got to say we see it.
Oh, yeah.
And if you have to see it at least once.
Sure.
Base camp for this week was in Reston, Virginia at Lake Fairfax County Park and campground. This is a big county park. It's a mixture of like a swimming area and like basketball courts and softball areas, and there's a skate park there, and then there's the campground there. We didn't have a problem for the majority of our stay until the very end. It was 4 a.m. We hear a loud crashing sound on the side of the RV. We ran outside. There's nobody to be found, but we find this 75-pound picnic table somebody had flipped over and onto the side of our RV. It broke the side of the slide cover.
The corner piece.
Rubbed a bunch of paint off on the picnic table, off onto the RV. The paint buffed out. I glued the piece back together. I ordered a new one from Winnebago. It's $25. It's not a big deal. It was just really disappointing, I think, to go through that. The people that run the place and the campground hosts were very concerned about it. They're quite confident it was the skaters, because the skaters at the skate park had been retaliating. Looks like our light just went off. Well, the skaters at the skate park had been retaliating because they put signs up saying no skating past 10. You're possibly disturbing the campers. So now they're retaliating against the campers there. The local police, because it's petty crimes, they won't do anything about it. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend staying at this place. It was only electric anyways. There was no water and no dump, although it was water and dump on site. So for all of those reasons, I don't recommend staying here. Instead, look up Cherry Hill State Park, which was in Washington, and it puts you closer.
Was it a state park, or is it actually a campground?
Maybe just a campground. Cherry Hill Campground or Cherry Hill State Park. I'll put the link below, but that's probably the better bet if you're going to visit the DC thing again.
Well, yeah, and they seem to have, because we looked it up, after we had already checked in where we were, and they have like an actual bus that will take you into DC. They're more tourist DC friendly. It's pricey. It's definitely pricey, but
paying for location.
Right.
Yeah, the Reston place, it put us 45 minutes out, so it was a long haul, plus you had to drive through construction. So definitely look up this other place if you're going to go through DC.
And Lake Fairfax, y'all got to figure something out.
Yeah, you do. We would love to come back and stay there again, but you got to figure something out with the skate park. So that was DC. And that concludes our Northeast tour. 24 campgrounds over the last, I don't even know how many months. Michigan all the way across to Ohio, New York, Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. We missed a few, but we got our Northeast fixed in. We spent a month in Maine. I'm quite confident that we got a good tour of the Northeast. And aside from a few select states, I'm not sure we'll be back anytime soon. We're looking forward to getting back out to the west. Winter is starting to bite out our toes here, so we're going to start heading back into the south, back to the southwest. So if you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up, and thanks for following along. You've been following us in our adventures, and we will see you next week.